Hey, I'm Chris Lamm. This is the Money Hole Podcast. This episode, I'm going to sit down with my good friend, Fabiano Altamura, and we talk all the time about anything from money to politics to our favorite cigars. But in this episode, we're starting a series where we're going to discuss just financial literacy and some of the things that are going on in our world right now when it comes to people and their money. Look, inflation's at a 40-year high. 80% of the country is living paycheck to a paycheck. Credit card debt's at an all-time high. If you're not thinking about your money every day right now, then you probably should be. So this is going to be an awesome episode. And please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Fab, it's good to see you.
It's good to be here, bro. Always good to hang with you.
It's always good to hang with you.
I like working out with you too.
Oh, I know. It's been fun, man.
It's been super
We see each other all the time now. It's the joy of my life. Well, hey, man, I want to start out just asking you a question because Dave Ramsey's getting a lot of heat. Every time I see something on social media right now, someone's saying something about him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Dave Ramsey?
Okay. So I do think that Dave Ramsey has created a system that has made him very well known and has got a lot of people out of debt. And it's also made him a very, very wealthy man. I think his net worth is something like $600 million.
It's a lot.
And all of his portfolio is paid off. He's diversified. So I know he's getting a bad rap, specifically from the people of the likes of Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone. I like him, but there's also something about me that irks him. And I think he's very brash, but not in a likable way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the guy, and I know he loves the Lord. So I want to hear, if you're watching this, we love you. God bless you. We love you, Dave. But I think he may be slightly antiquated in his approach to it. Because if I'm being completely honest, his ethos of not being in stupid debt makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of the snowball effect gives a system for you to pay off your lowest credit card debt, so you get a win, and all the money you were paying on that, pay the next credit card.
It works.
So that fundamentally as a system works. Where I find flaws, specifically because I'm in real estate as well, is how do you get to buy a house cash?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that works because you'll be saving for, I don't know, as you said, 80% of the people are living paycheck to paycheck. So how do I not use debt? How do I not leverage debt and pay my house straight off?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't just say to pay cash. He does say specifically to put 20% down or more and to not have a credit score. Mm-hmm. And to get a 15-year fixed mortgage. So I'll give him a little more credit than paying cash.
Okay.
But here's the problem. The average, and I did the math on this, the average person in America with the median income, if they were to have followed that principle, 20% down, no credit score, and let's just say that they were exposed to Dave Ramsey in 2018. It would have taken them 5 to 7 years to save up their 20% on the median priced home today because prices kept going up.
Right.
Well, if someone would have bought that same house with a credit score with an FHA loan, putting 3.5% down, they would literally have made $300,000 to $500,000 in equity.
Wow.
So Dave Ramsey literally costed people hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, I'm not saying that was his intention.
Yeah, of course.
But I think to your point that he's still banging in the same drum. I mean, just the other day he posted, someone should buy a home with a 15-year fixed. That's 25% of their income. And I posted to his tweet, I said, Dave, tell me where they should buy a house. And I looked at the comments. I could not find one comment where someone said, tell us where, Dave. Tell us how. Because that model just doesn't work right now. So I wish it did.
Do you think he runs a risk of becoming, I think he's too big, right? So he's not going to run the risk of becoming irrelevant because there are always people that will use part of his method to get out of debt if they're in credit card debt. But do you think he runs the risk of being or becoming irrelevant?
I don't think that would happen for him. And let me just tell you, I want to balance out what I said. There's a lot of things he does right, as you said.
Yeah, of course.
I think that the snowball getting out of debt, he has a great plan for that and a great system. The problem is I've seen a lot of people use it, get out of debt and get back into debt because they don't deal with the root of their issues. Okay. We'll get to that in a second. I also think he's really good on investments. There are a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this, and anyone who's honest, who's made any money investing, they have to admit that we've been guilty of trying to hit a home run and falling into fear of missing out. Like he has been very consistent by blue chip, profitable dividend paying stocks, dollar cost average over a long period of time. Don't try to get rich quick. You'll probably lose. Like his philosophy around a lot of the things I agree 100% with. I think where the areas where I think he's having a problem right now, a lot of it's around housing. And then a lot of it is around, not really dealing with the root of people's issues, because you're right. He does get downright cranky and angry and yell. Yeah. Some of that could be because it helps him get more viewers, and there is people like to see him get fired up.
Yeah.
But the reality is, man, if you talk to anybody who has money issues, they usually have underlying issues, man. They've got belief systems that are messed up. They've got shame. They don't have mentorship or tools. And until you deal with that, like you can help them get out of debt, but until they have a vision for the life they want to have and they have someone show them how to get there, and that it's really nice to be debt free and it's really nice to have passive income, they're going to struggle to get there because just changing someone's behavior, it's usually not going to last.
Yeah. And I think that you're right. He's not addressing the root core, but I think that what I do like about him as well as the likes, and we'll talk about Grant Cardone and Robert Kiyosaki. He doesn't flex.
He doesn't flex at all.
He doesn't flex. And I think what he does is maybe that's his faith side of things. Some people aren't attracted to the Dave Ramsey system because it's not a get rich quick system. It's methodical, daily cost average, right? Invest in the blue chip because it's tried and tested.
It's conservative. Yeah.
But it's conservative, yeah. But I'm not going to lie, when Grant Cardone comes up and he's sat by his jets and his Rolls Royce, there is something about that I think communicates to the world that get money equals stuff, which enables me to flex rather than still dealing with what's at the core of why you want that wealth. And I think what Dave Ramsey does in not flexing, it's about stewardship as well, right? So he's old school, he's cranky, he's old now, but he's done it. He's made his mark in the business world. Whereas Grant Cardone, there's something in terms of the visual life of what money can buy you that I think attracts a lot of people. It's very
attractive.
It is attractive, but from a false sense of security, I think, in my personal opinion. What are your thoughts on Grant Cardone?
I read a few of his books and I've seen some of his stuff. I personally am not attracted to the way that he promotes himself. I don't have a problem with flying on private jets. It's wonderful. And I don't have a problem with having nice cars or nice stuff. And by the way, Dave Ramsey has some incredible cars and a giant mansion. Yeah. He just doesn't show it on every YouTube.
Exactly.
That's not his style.
No.
He's got his flannel shirt on and he kind of appeals to blue collar people.
Yeah.
And it's very much by design, just so people know that. Like what he wears and the way he puts himself out there, that's very much part of his deal.
And he's created tons of millionaires.
He has. If someone committed to Dave Ramsey's process and they followed their whole life, they would do very well. But I think what you're trying to say is that isn't the only way.
Right.
And we live in a world with a ton of different people that have a lot of different giftings and ideas. And I meet with people all the time. And when I find out how they've made money, it blows my mind. And I know people who have had an idea and gone all in, and they've made hundreds of $millions of dollars from an idea that they had, and it doesn't fit into the Dave Ramsey box in any way, shape, or form. I also know people who have became multi-millionaires by getting into a lot of debt. Leveraged debt is it's how the banks make their money. The banks are very, very successful, with the exception of a few this year, because they borrow money on margin.
Yeah.
They get money from the Federal Reserve, then they lend it out. And so most people that have accomplished anything in this world and built wealth, debt has been a big part of that. And I think what Grant Cardone is trying to tell people is that you can get there faster. And I believe that it's true. I just think that people have to be careful. And if I had the perfect world of an influencer, it'd be a combination of Grant Cardone's message and Dave Ramsey's.
I would agree with you. It's taking both messages in tension.
Yeah.
We always live with kind of two ideas, right? And we hold them in tension. We live in a world where there's evil and there's good. And I think I've never been able to implement that Dave Ramsey method of, paying something off so quickly, because I think it's about the cash flow that I can generate, so that if I have cash flow, I can then go and buy another investment, right? And I think the idea that, Robert Kiyosaki talks about as well, he's made his money off debt, right? But I guess your wealth creation is also about your risk exposure and the amount of risk you're willing to take. And I think what he's trying to do is mitigate your risk exposure and mitigate your kind of risk, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's super low risk.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone is all risk.
All risk.
And and Grant Cardone, he's wrong about a lot of things, just like Dave is, just like everyone is, but they're also right. And what I mean by that is they're sharing their own personal experience, right? So one of the things Grant Cardone says is go all in on real estate, and you can't trust Wall Street. And that's not true, because the NASDAQ is up 32% year to date. The S&P 500 is up 17%. And for people that got afraid of the stock market last year and pulled all their money out, they lost massive returns this year.
Right.
The stock market has made tons of millionaires and billionaires, and it's a great place to put your money. And I think personally, this is my experience, a diversified approach is the best way to do it.
Yeah, because it mitigates your risk as well, doesn't it? I think it does. And I think tried and tested, for me, I'm not diversified in the sense that I have a ton in stocks, but I've diversified portfolio in the sense of I have a mixture of commercial and residential. What I want to ask you is, as well, is like, Dave Ramsey talks about putting, your 20% down. How does Grant Cardone, when he talks to people, he kind of sell this dream that you can buy real estate and lots of it with 0% down?
And I think I'm more in alignment with what Grant Cardone teaches, because I was just sitting with someone today and they were saying, hey, if we put 20% down, we don't have to pay private mortgage insurance, which is the extra fee, kind of like a tax you pay on a payment. I said, yeah, you can, but how long will it take you to save $80,000? Because if it takes you 4 years, let's count how much you're going to lose in paying rent. Let's count how much you're going to lose in not having the tax deductibility of the mortgage payment.
Right.
And let's count how much you're going to lose if homes continue to appreciate. This is 2023. In the fourth quarter of 2022, the media said the housing market was going to crash because rates went up higher than they had in 20 years. Now we're more than halfway through 2023. Home values are going up at 1% a month right now, even with higher rates.
Wow.
And so when rates go down next year around the election, coincidentally, what do you think is going to happen? A lot of people are going to jump back into the housing market and values are going to keep going up. There's not enough homes for people to buy.
Yeah.
So for someone to sit on the sidelines and to not take advantage of a minimum down payment loan to buy a house,
right?
I think that we could prove that they will lose more money in the long run. And the risk is higher to not buy today than to wait till they put 20% down.
Right, because that 20% as well, while you're doing that, inflation is devaluing that money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But how does Grant Cardone sell that dream of the 0% down?
He's all about other people's money. So a lot of the influencers that are, showing up the way Grant Cardone does, jets, Jaguars, Lambos, they're teaching people that you can use other people's money to build wealth. And that's true. It's very true. But it's a little more complicated than the 90-second reel they see on Instagram.
I know, totally.
The other thing they have to be careful of is that most people on Instagram that are telling you how to make money, they actually haven't done it. And the way that they're making money is by having you buy into their program. And so you always have to be really careful. You have to consider the source. I think Grant Cardone has some really great principles. And if you actually listen to him and you can get past his hubris, a lot of what he says is good. It really is. It's good stuff. Robert Kiyosaki, phenomenal, but also has a totally different experience. He's very pro Bitcoin, gold and silver. And, gold and silver, I have some, and it's a cool concept. But the problem is, if the type of world if we went into an apocalyptic time, like gold and silver isn't going to help you eat.
Yeah.
Because people won't trade it, right? It's a good thing to hedge against the stock market failing, because gold and silver will go up high in those types of environments. But it's not an end of the world thing like some of these old timers will say.
It's a little bit apocalyptic.
You always have to consider the source. There's value. I guess in closing on these guys, for me, there's value in everything they teach. If it's someone who actually has wealth and they're not just saying they do. Grant Cardone does.
Yeah.
But you have to take it with a grain of salt, and you have to you really have to be careful, because they don't know your financial situation. They're talking to the masses. And if you take what he says literally and you go out and invest in his fund and it goes down, you could put yourself at major risk. So you really have to make sure you have people around you who know your situation, and you're reducing the risk for your family while also taking some calculated risk on growing your wealth.
Right. So if you were to take the good parts of Dave Ramsey and the good parts of Grant Cardone, and you were to sum it up, what do you think you would communicate? Because you can't, I get attracted by the real, which then hooks me in. But like for you as a financial wizard, what would you take out of both of those?
Stay out of credit card debt. It's definitely a slippery slope. If you can get out of credit card debt and stay out of it, Dave is absolutely right. The less money that you have to spend every month servicing bad debt, the more that you can invest, right? But on the other side of that coin, managing your money is half of the equation. You have to raise your income. And I think Grant Cardone is big about getting into business, buying businesses, finding opportunities to raise your monthly income. Yeah. The more money you make monthly, the more that you can invest. And so finding ways, I'm telling everyone right now, get a side hustle. The economy's tough. Things cost more. You're not making enough at your job. That you're not a victim. You can find a way to make more money. Let's talk about that. Grant Cardone talks about that. And the other thing is using other people's money. When we talk about real estate, you can still get mortgages where you can put 3 to 5% down. And the reason why is because the banks know that real estate is solid. You can't do that in the stock market. Yeah. You can't do that anywhere. Yeah. And I think if you can get into a house right now, I think it's a really good idea to buy a property. And if you can live in that property for a few years, rent it out and buy another property, it's a good idea. Don't be afraid of these prices. Real estate's a long-term play. Yeah. Even if the prices go down and you keep making your payments, the value will go up, rents will go up, you'll get the tax deductions, and acquiring real estate, I think, is a really good plan.
Yeah. I think my dad always said one thing about real estate was, it's a really good pension scheme in the sense that you keep it, you hold it, you pay it off, and then you have passive income.
And it worked well for your dad.
And it worked really well for me.
It's working well for you too.
It's working well, and it will be when we pay it all off.
Yeah, totally. Well, I appreciate you having this conversation. I get a lot of questions about all these different thoughts because people are flooded with thoughts and ideas all day long. And I think if we could sum it up one more time, the first thing is control your spending, figure out where you have bad debt, get a plan to get out of it. Dave Ramsey has a great system for that. Find a way to raise your income, get new skills. Yep. I don't think you need to go to college anymore. There's so many programs online where you can go through them for 6 to 8 weeks and learn how to develop software, build websites. AI is changing the world right now. There's so many ways to make money with the internet online. Figure out a way to make more money. And then the second thing is learn how to invest your money. Start with really conservative investments. You want to minimize your risk on the front end until you have more money and you can take more risks. But even then, you want to try to make sure that you're taking tried and true investments that have always done well.
Yeah. It's good, man.
Yeah. So thanks for being here, bro.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Appreciate you. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching this podcast.